My friends, good day. Keir Starmer has resigned in the United Kingdom. In terms of IS's happiness, it's the equivalent of Emmanuel Macron resigning in France. Nevertheless, he is not going to leave tonight. He will leave between the end of July and September by the time his replacement arrives, or I should say, by the time the WEF appoints his replacement. So what's happening is that this would be the seventh. The next one would be the seventh Prime Minister in 10 years for the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is becoming ungovernable. I don't just want to criticize Starmer for the sake of criticizing him. That's easy. It's like shooting an elephant stuck in a hallway. The guy, everything bad we can say about him, he fully deserves it. But still, we need to take a step back and look at the system. The United Kingdom has become a completely unmanageable country. They can change prime ministers as much as they want. It's not a country that's going to see better days in the coming years. If you want, maybe we need to go back to the time of Tony Blair. We can still move forward. But if we go back to Tony Blair's time, he changed the way the country was governed. He changed the system of governance. Tony Blair, legal background, lawyer. And actually what he did was establish a system where he put in place laws, binding laws that would survive any majority, actually. You can't change the law with just a majority or a vote. Once it's in place, it's written in black and white and can't simply be changed. And actually, that's what he did. In fact, it was exported everywhere, including to France. For example, who remembers that Ségolène Royal was a minister? Who remembers that? Who can name it? Who can tell me the date without Google? See what I mean? Her term was so short, we barely remember her. Nevertheless, there are laws she left behind that are still enforceable for French citizens to this day. It's as if she's still in power. So what's happening is that the country is plagued by a sprawling bureaucracy. Like I gave you an example, maybe I should give another example so people can understand, because the French will tell me, yes, but we also have bureaucracy in our country. Wait, I know there's bureaucracy in France. I'm talking to you about British bureaucracy, which is on a whole different level. Just to lay tracks over 8 kilometers. In fact, it wasn't even about laying them. These were tracks that already existed. They just needed to update them a bit, renovate them, all that just to let a train pass. It took a file of 79,000 pages and change. Nearly 80,000 pages just for one file. Today, the slightest move, the smallest thing the country wants to do, it takes 30, 40 years just in procedures, just in paperwork. The country is paralyzed. It can't do anything at all. Today, you might want a road, you want to build it. They tell you it'll take 60 years minimum. All right, that's where we are. But in terms of taxes, with Starmer adding, we're literally at the highest tax pressure since 1945. I know the French will tell me, yeah, but we have that too. Wait, in your country, at least there's a state that redistributes. The British state doesn't redistribute anything at all. There's no system or concept of public service. You're a client everywhere, even at the doctors. You're not a patient, you're a client. You pay full price for everything. Daycare for children in the UK from Monday to Friday costs over 2,000 euros at all centres. It's about the same everywhere. Private schools cost more than 2,000 euros per month as well. And what Starmer did during his time in power, he added VAT on top of that. He added VAT and he pushed a lot of private schools into bankruptcy. And the students who left those schools had to go to public schools that can't take them in, which are also overwhelmed. You see, Starmer came in with a left-wing program, a Labour program, as we say. The moment he comes to power, what's he going to do? First action. What he did literally within 2 weeks after coming to power, he cut the heating subsidies for the elderly, for old people. So the elderly, who, as we know, in the United Kingdom have to choose between heating or eating, well, they used to receive a bit of subsidy that allowed them to keep a somewhat decent temperature in winter. And while he said, I'm cutting that off for them, he's someone who's very obsessed. Also, besides Ukraine, he's very obsessed with climate. Under his rule, the United Kingdom has become a climate theocracy. Careful. I'm not saying that it started under his rule, but he is pursuing an agenda, and you can see in the United Kingdom that the agenda survives every majority. No matter if you're on the left or the right, whether you're a Labour supporter or a Conservative, there are certain things that always move in the same direction. The Brexit negotiations, he wants to do a Brexit reset deal. And actually behind all this, there's von der Leyen who praised the great man that he was. And all this just to tell you that really Brexit today, what it means for the United Kingdom is simply this. When British passport holders travel to Europe, they wait in the all passports line. This sometimes means waiting 2, 3, or even 4 hours behind planes from China, Nigeria, and other places. That's all it means. For the rest, they're stuck in the European Union. They have to go through European procedures, right up to the cap that's attached to the bottle. Nothing has changed. It's actually worse. So I'm telling you that today, Starmer's departure won't mean that his party, the Labour Party, will leave power. No, not at all, unless there's an election, and even then. That means if Starmer is out, he'll be replaced by someone from the same party. That person from the same party could last 3 months or 3 years, and there isn't a scheduled election unless at some point the successor decides to call an election, but that's not certain at all. How do people like Starmer come to power? It's a bit like how people like Macron come to power, because Starmer isn't representative. He's in the minority if you look at it, except that he's facing an opposition that's divided, an opposition that's constantly getting into turf wars, that's always getting into ego battles, an opposition that's constantly attacking each other. You know, the opposition parties oppose each other more than they oppose the Labour left. And so inevitably, you get to a point where minority figures like Starmer, who manage to stay the course, end up in power, and the country ends up being run by a minority. So the next Prime Minister, who will probably, well, the name that comes up most often is Andy Burnham, who is the mayor of Manchester. And actually, he's considered to be even more left-wing than Starmer. That means when he comes in, well, he'll probably try to raise taxes again. He'll try to increase VAT, okay? So he's someone who will come in and want to do that because the country is technically bankrupt. At times, the United Kingdom borrows at 6%. See what I mean? The United Kingdom now pays more to borrow than Greece. Just so you have an idea, a sense of scale, it's like a consumer loan. Okay? Years ago, I was able to get a car loan at 6%. Today, the United Kingdom, as a country, borrows billions at 6%. And that's why when the United Kingdom borrows at that rate, well, it's squandering money. They travel widely, ministers leave and visit various countries, sometimes even wealthier than the United Kingdom today. They arrive, there's a problem, they pull out the checkbook and start handing out money. Meanwhile, businesses are going bankrupt because they're suffocating under the confiscatory taxes, which are the highest, as I said, since 1945. So there's really no improvement in life in this country. No one can make it here. That's why millions of people have decided either to leave. Some people have already left. I left the United Kingdom, but there are others who can't leave. They just stop working, studying, or doing anything and sit in front of the TV. It's because the government is waging war against you, keeping you from moving forward. So the next one will come. It will be announced in the coming days or weeks. There will probably be internal battles within the party to choose the next one. I can tell you what he will do once he comes to power. I know what his first 2 or 3 days will look like, and I'll tell you right now. It will be the quintet in order. So what he's going to do on the first day, he's going to go to the king. That's the tradition. Everyone knows that. Well, he goes to the king who will sign his credentials and all that. But basically, fundamentally, if you want, it's just a tradition. There's nothing special about it. The king doesn't change anything in the political equation. He mostly takes care of his family, his castles, his horses, all that. That's it. He has a symbolic role. So he'll go, as I told you, to the king just to get validated. Afterwards, he'll probably go to Zelensky with a check to pledge allegiance. Okay? Just to say, well, here we are. Literally, when you listen to the British political establishment, it feels like it wasn't Russia that annexed part of Ukraine. It feels like it's the United Kingdom that annexed Ukraine. It feels like it's literally a British department at this point. So, by the way, I can even tell you that Starmer would have made a very good Ukrainian prime minister because he really takes care of things. He has always had a sincere, clear, and definite concern for the Ukrainian people. But it doesn't extend, does it, to the British people? So second thing, so I said the king, he will go see Zelensky. Thirdly, he will go see von der Leyen to confirm the United Kingdom's vassalage to the European Union and its attachment to the values of the European Union as a vassal country, that's clear. And then The last thing he's going to do, he's going to go eat with some hedge fund executives, okay, American hedge funds that are working a bit to carve up the country, to take everything. You know, by the way, you should know something. When you live in the United Kingdom, that's what makes the tax burden I mentioned so high. It's that everything has been sold off. You know, in the United Kingdom, the doctor's office belongs to an American group, the bus belongs to an Australian group, the water belongs to a group from New Zealand, and so on and so on. Your country is basically rented out. You become, there's not even real citizenship. That's why Brexit didn't really change anything. Because you say we're going to take the country back from the European Union, but in reality, the country, you're not going to take it back from the European Union. You have to take it back from the hedge funds, you have to take it back from the banks, from the speculators who bought everything and are now selling your own country back to you at a high price. So that's something else, okay? So as I was saying, he'll probably have dinner with hedge fund executives, and then just like always, he'll come on TV to talk to us about climate, okay? We know the drill, we know how it goes, that's how it works. So Starmer, to sum up, Starmer is gone. The next one will probably be worse than him. That's just how it is. And then I can tell you that those who haven't left the UK yet, those who are still hesitating, who are saying yes, there might still be a little bit of hope. There might be a chance that things will change for the better. Will probably pack their bags tonight. That's it. Thank you, my friends, for watching this video until now. Thank you for your support. My book, Astrology, I'll give you the attached link for it. Because you know that the United Kingdom has become a climate theocracy, but it's not just the United Kingdom, many countries in Europe as well. I denounce this in the book Astrology, which is available on Amazon. And today there's even an audio version of this book. I narrated it myself, so there you go. It's available on Audible. Thank you for watching this video until the end, and I'll see you in the next one. See you very soon.